so this is our Ag CSI project. Our invention idea is to make an underwater restaurant that is going to be near a popular dock to roam around. We need transportation, so and then we need separate tanks to disinfect the fish. So we're going to have a separate tank to disinfect the fish, and then this is our restaurant, and this is what we're going to have for transportation. We need enough employees in our restaurant to have all the things covered, so like a chef and a janitor and stuff like that. We need to make sure we have enough food to harvest in the tank, and a nice interior in the restaurant so people will want to keep coming. Oh shoot, sorry guys.
I'm a fisherman, and I catch all the food.
I'm a chef, and I cook all the food.
I'm the underwater welder to pretty much make our restaurant and weld all the pieces together, but the other jobs that we'll have will be a marine biologist, which would have been Will's job, to check the sea life to make sure it's good to bring out of the tank to cook. Then we'll have a waitress to wait the tables and give people their orders of food. And then we'll have a cashier to give people their checks and their change after they've eaten and stuff. And then we'll have a janitor to clean up after our restaurant after everyone has left and is done eating.
Our plan is to help common plants live in the water, and we're going to limit the amount of food the fish need. And we're going to limit the amount of sunlight for the plants, and we're going to limit the amount of oxygen. We're going to limit the room temperature for the people, and we're going to help disinfect the species in the tank. And we're going to preserve and restore critical habitats. That's what we're going to try and do. And we're going to try to improve soil health and water quality.
So the way the tank is going to work is pretty much he'll bring the fish in, we'll put them in the tank, and then we'll check on them, and whenever they're good, we'll pull them out of the tank, out of the trap door that we're going to have, pull them out of the tank, out of that door, and then you put them in freezers full of ice before we cook them.
So this is our trapdoor idea. They can get in, but they can't get back out. And if we have too many fish, we're gonna have a way to drain them out.
Yeah.
And then this is our oxygen tank for if we were to have problems, we would add this oxygen tank.
It's pretty much just like a bubbler to restore
Yeah.
their natural
And then this is the Santa Monica Pier. This
That's
is
where our restaurant will be.
where
located.
our restaurant's gonna be underneath because there's so many people that go there that need a good meal.
Okay, so we're gonna catch the fish from the water, and we're gonna take plants from the land and places that they can't survive. We're gonna try and add genetics from plants that can't survive in water. We're gonna try and test through trial and error what can live in water. And we're gonna have an air tank for people in case they get claustrophobic or anything. And like Ellie said, it's gonna be at Santa Monica Pier.
The way we're going to transport people, our idea is we're going to have an elevator that goes underwater, which the underwater welder, I'll come in handy to build the water, so they'll travel down and they'll get to the restaurant and back out from the restaurant using that elevator.
I'll use nets to pull the fish from the tank and to transport them to the tank. We're going to put them in coolers after to keep them fresh.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the trapdoor, and we're going to try and grow different species of plants in the tank. And we're going to have two separate tanks for the fish and the plants.
And if you know, Red Lobster, they have lobsters in a tank that they pull from. We'll have some of those up front for the kids to look at, and then we'll have some in the back that we can harvest from.
And then helping the world's food supply, we'll be helping the fish population not get too high, because if you let one species get too high, it can invade some of the species if some of them are.
And then
If they eat other fish and whatnot.
Yeah, and then we won't have enough different varieties of food.
And we'll have to make sure that the fish adapt to the environment when we pull them out of their natural habitat, just to make sure they don't freak out too much and stuff. And then we'll be helping the world food supply. It'll help understand how to grow plants underwater and how growing plants underwater helps grow more plants and more food for the world. And it'll be help people eat more healthy and natural food, because the fish will be fresh out of the water, and the plants will be too. And it'll be better for plants that can't survive in hot weather, for them being in the tank, you know. They'll have more water, they'll have a limit to sunlight, so they don't grow good in sunlight, they'll have a limit to it. And then we'll add genetics of plants that survive underwater to plants that can't survive underwater.
And for World Food Supply, we're having troubles finding like ideas that our idea would help World Food Supply. So these are some of the sites that we needed to use. Some of them, like the World Food Program, that helped us with like how much food people need in the world and stuff like that. And World Vision is like an overview of all the world's food supply that we need to help to feed everyone. In conclusion, we are going to make a restaurant for everyone that can come under the Santa Monica Pier. It helps World Food Supply, and we grow plants underwater and catch fish to provide for our restaurant. And we want to have a safe place for people to eat meals and want to keep coming. And the price ranges depend on like what kind of meat they get, like
What kind of
fish.
species of fish? If it's salmon, it'll be different than
Yeah.
marlin. Or
Yeah, we'll have to keep them in like a cooler, like a tuna. If they cook themselves when they like get caught, so we'll have to keep them in like a cooler.
And we'll always have a way to keep the fish and like plants healthy from when they're coming outside of our restaurant, because you never know what diseases are on them. So we'll always have a way to keep them healthy so people do not get food poisoning or stuff like that. And we just want people to feel safe in our restaurant and have a good meal. Any questions?
How was one fisherman gonna catch all that fish?
We have
I
nets.
catch nonstop and like I use nets.
yeah, his main job is to fish.
That's all I do. I have no idea.
Isabel?
How are you gonna like build the structure under the water?
We're
We
gonna
have
take like
underwater
bulletproof glass and we're gonna try and like
Make a dome
Yeah.
and stuff.
Like saying, you
we'll
know how
have
they
cranes.
Yeah, so like saying, you know how they made that glass to hold all that jellyfish? We're gonna have that, but we're not gonna have bears wreck it, you know?
We'll have like cranes lower the stuff.
So it's
into the water.
under the water.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's gonna be under
What if a shark comes and breaks the glass?
That's
They
the
can't-
thing.
it's
bulletproof.
Yeah,
That's the thing. It's the bulletproof
we're gonna
glass.
have big.
How are you gonna get the
Tell
air
me.
in there?
Right.
How much
Like-
air tank, but how
Yeah.
big's your air tank gonna be?
We'll have multiple.
It'll have to be big enough to air out the
And how
whole
many
restaurant.
customers do you think you're gonna be serving in
That's a good
Well,
question.
that's a good question.
At least
It's-
150.
Well, it's under the Santa Monica Pier,
Yeah,
so
it's
like there's
under the
multiple people coming in at the
Under
same
the sea.
time.
Oh, well.
All right, you've exceeded your
Yeah, I
three
was
questions.